So hey guys, how are you all doing? I'm sorry I sound so deflated. I'm not upset or anything. I'm just very tired. I just got back from speaking at an event in Kent and it was super amazing. And although it was really fun, I am ready to hit my bed and go to sleep and just cool down and calm off. But I thought I would come to you guys with a video and a little bit of a discussion about something which I was thinking about on the train. So over the last couple of days, if you've been seeing my uploads, then yeah, if you haven't, then subscribe and turn on your notifications so that you can see them. But I've been trying my hardest to be more transparent, more open, more honest on my channel, and it's not something that I don't do in real life. I'm a very open person, but it's very different. Like I said in my 1 year anniversary video, it's very different on the internet. A lot of people who do not know you will think it's their time to formulate an opinion about who you are and who you still are, especially if you reveal the person that you used to be. And I think sometimes that can make a lot of people scared to be transparent, but transparency is really important for small communities, big communities. I mean, I know that a lot of people talk about it, but in the Black community, in the African or Caribbean community, when they're separate, openness and transparency can sometimes be a taboo thing. It can sometimes be a, why are you talking about your mental health? Why are you talking about, you know, abuse? Why are you talking about mistakes and failures that you've made? Why are you talking about the domestic violence that you experienced at home? Why are you talking about the rape that you went through? Why are you talking about the abortions that you've had? Why are you talking about the partying you used to do? And sometimes even in the Christian community, it's a taboo to talk about these things because it's kind of like those things aren't good. So why would you keep bringing them up? Just thank God that you're in a better place and move on. The issue with that is, firstly, it takes a lot of courage to be transparent. It takes a lot of courage to want to be open and to want to display to the world your most vulnerable stages in life, and then to actually bring yourself to get to that point, to be confident enough and courageous enough to say, I'm going to speak up about whatever it is I've been through, taboo or not, to then be shut down by the people, sometimes the people closest to you, who tell you to shut up, sit straight and keep quiet. It's difficult. You know, it's sad, and it stops people from sharing their stories, sharing their testimonies. And it's something that I've noticed countless amounts of times as somebody who's dealt with mental health issues, as somebody who has, you know, always wanted to have open discussions with various people, you know, different mindsets, maybe cultural barriers and cultural clashes, you know, really come to play when it comes to issues like transparency. We see a very big divide between generations. I mean, I know that people much older than me, like my parents and their generation, are very much so, some issues do not go past these four walls of our home. Some issues are just home issues for us all to deal with, and to an extent I agree. I think sometimes when you're going through what you're going through, it's not always the best idea to tell everybody, because not everybody has your best interest at heart. When you're going through what you're going through and you need advice, not everybody can give you the advice that you need and the advice that would be in your best interest. But there are people who you need to talk to in order to get help. And then even more so when you've actually come through what it is you've been through and you have the scars to prove that, you know, sometimes it's physical scars, sometimes it's mental scars, sometimes it's scars in your heart. When you have those scars to prove that you went through something but you didn't die from it. It didn't kill you. It didn't kill your spirit. It didn't kill your happiness. It didn't kill your joy. Sometimes people need to see those scars. I saw that on Twitter actually. Sometimes people need to see your scars to see that you healed from the pain that you experienced. And sometimes we forget that. Sometimes we think that scars should be covered up. So just don't show anybody any part of where you used to hurt, because that's not cute. No one wants to see that. That's not anything. And sometimes when you come out and you say, no, I want to bear it all, I want people to see my scars, I want people to see that I've been through stuff, I went through stuff, and I can now smile, I can now talk about it, or I'm getting through the process of embracing those scars that I have and saying, you know what, it's a part of me anyway. And some people tell you that that's really stupid, like that's disgusting. When the truth is, sometimes you should embrace your scars. And I saw another thing on Twitter which came from SPAC Nation, which was that sometimes if you can't talk about your past, it's because you're still living in it. And there is no problem in taking a longer time than other people to overcome your situation. There's no problem in somebody maybe broke up with their boyfriend, it's been taking them 5 years to get over that relationship, or you know, you failed a test and you still feel like a failure. I did a video on that, and you still feel like a failure. As long as you're on the process of healing, it doesn't really matter how long it takes, because this all comes down to you. It all comes down to your recovery. If you don't take the adequate time to recover, if you don't take the adequate time to heal, if you don't take the adequate time to accept that you have these scars and to be confident having those scars, you don't have to bear them to the world, but you don't look at yourself in the mirror and cringe and cry and think, why is this me? Why am I broken? Why am I hurt? You accept them. And sometimes you have to be transparent, not just for the sake of the world and for the sake of other people hearing your testimony and saying, well, if she got through it, I can get through it too. And breaking free from the shackles that have held them to their situation. But sometimes transparency is good for you. It's good for you to say, I have been hurt. Sometimes as black women or black men or young people or whatever, we find it very hard to say I have been hurt, because it admits a state of vulnerability. It admits that you weren't as strong as society told you should be. It admits that something broke you. And sometimes we don't like to let people know that something can break us. Either we're scared that they're going to use it again to try and break us, or we feel embarrassed. And the truth is, you're just a human being, you know? Like your body can get ailments, your mind can get ailments, your spirit can get ailments. You can be broken, you can be hurt, you can be vulnerable. And look in the mirror and tell yourself, I can be vulnerable, especially as black men and women, when we're told in society so many times. And I really love Mackay, because Mackay talks about this so much, which is that as black men and women, we're forced to just bundle up everything and be as strong as possible, be brick walls to pain, be brick walls to adversities in life. When they come at you, just withstand it, because we've been doing it for so long in history. And the truth is, we've been pelted with so much pain and so much grief, whether that be in a historical context, whether that be in a political context, whether that be just in your own personal, emotional and spiritual context. You are hurt by something, you are grieved by something, you are traumatized by something, that sometimes you do have to give in. Allow yourself to be an individual where you can look in the mirror and say, I've been hurt, I've been broken, this thing might be bigger than me. It's not bigger than you, but sometimes we don't think we can slay our Goliaths, you know? We stand there and we just think it's not gonna happen. There's a level of transparency I want you to have with yourself, even before you go before the world and say, I've overcome stuff. Like, I don't know, sometimes I feel like some people are denied the right to be individuals, to be vulnerable, to be hurt, to feel offended by something. And sometimes the world won't create a space for you. Sometimes the world won't create a condition for you to be vulnerable. And that's unfortunate, but in the meantime, we have to do something. And yeah, while we're fighting for there to be spaces which allow us to talk openly about mental health and trauma and vulnerability and emotional breakdown and violence and victimhood, whether that be online spaces or in real life spaces, which allow us to claim victimhood, which allow us to actually say, you know what, sometimes I have been offended by somebody. I feel like you're not a fool to feel upset about something. You're not weak for feeling upset about something. You're not weak. Like, I feel like that's one of the biggest things I had an issue with. Saying that you've been through something and confessing that to people makes you sound weak. It makes you sound like, wow, you let something overcome you. And the truth is, sometimes we don't exercise ourselves to battle things we don't think we're going to battle. And then when we get caught off guard and it's taken us literally, yeah, you do feel weaker than you should be. But weakness is not a bad thing in every context, especially if once you have been defeated by something, you work on then building yourself up so that it doesn't happen again. I'm in the process now of real self-care. Like, I think coming to uni is one of the first times I've really taken care of myself. I've really tried my hardest to smile and my hardest to really just spend time with myself and read and do things which I like and be as creative as I want to be and buy myself nice things. There's nothing wrong with that. That's self-care, that's self-love of sitting down and just meditating and not feeling like you have to surround yourself with so many people and just really sitting down and just thinking for yourself, and it's not because of the demands of an essay, or even sometimes it's just thinking about topics you want to think about and having discussions and really confronting the things that happen to you and trying to gauge an understanding from them. I feel like sometimes that's something you have to do for yourself. Not everybody's gonna award you that because they feel like, oh well, you should be stronger than this. You know, sometimes your parents will look at you and they'll be like, ha, like, come on, there's bigger issues in the world than that. Just go over there somewhere and suck it up. Sometimes don't. Sometimes deal with this big mess in front of you. Don't suck it up. Like, why do we have to hide our problems? Why should we have to be so scared to not want to conceal things anymore? Yeah, sometimes there is potential that people will throw stones at glass houses. And my answer to that is always, well, then make sure you're not in that house. Sometimes people are going to throw stuff at your insecurities and try to use it against you and try to use it to harm you. But I always say, if that's really your biggest fear, if you feel like if people did that, you wouldn't be able to come back from that, that's completely fine. Make sure that you've dealt with that insecurity. No matter how long it takes you, make sure that you've dealt with it, you spoke to the right people about it, getting professional help for it sometimes, or sometimes just being open with your friends and saying, listen guys, I'm going through this, can somebody talk with me? Just listen to me, be my soundboard, just allow me to be honest with someone. I don't want to keep hiding things, because sometimes hiding things is really draining. And once you overcome your issue, you can usually say things out loud and people could say whatever they want about your insecurities and about your failures and your weakness and whatever, and you just think, you've missed the whole point of the beauty of my transparency, and you just want to throw rocks at glass houses. Well, that's fine, but I'm doing this for the people that need it, who see the beauty in the transparency. So be transparent with yourself first and foremost, because you are the most important person to you. You are the most valuable person in your life. And sometimes it might sound self-centered, but you are. You know, if you're gone today, it doesn't matter about Tom, Dick or Harry. Like, so make sure you are holding yourself strong. Make sure that you are okay. I have had so many times where I've compromised myself to try and make sure that other people around me or other things around me, like my education or my creative ventures or my job, didn't crumble. And the truth is, all of these things are connected to you. If you're the one who's holding all of these things strong so that they stand, if you break, if you become so weak that you can't hold these things down anymore, not only do you shut down, not only do you crumble, but everything around you crumbles too. So don't exert yourself in an attempt to make sure my grades don't fail. You know, I can't take care of myself, because if I take this evening to do my whole self-care thing and to love myself, it means that this essay is not going to get done, and if this essay doesn't get done, then my education is basically out of the window. So there's no point of me taking care of myself, because my education is more important than I am. It's not. Your education is an extension of you, but you should come first and foremost. And I'm not saying use self-care as an excuse to just over pamper yourself and you don't do any work, and anytime anyone asks you why you're not doing work, you're like, oh, I'm self-caring. No. But when you need it, I find a way to identify that you need it. Find a way to identify that you're running low on energy, that you're tired, that you're not feeling passionate, and take that time out to get yourself back up to where it is you need to be. Be honest with yourself that you're feeling a bit weak, you're feeling a bit like you're not up for it. Be honest and transparent with yourself. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. That's the discussion I've kind of been having over the last couple of days, and I want to know what you guys think about it. Let me know down in the comment sections below. What are your thoughts on transparency? What are your thoughts about, you know, transparency kind of being a taboo sort of subject? And yeah, I will talk to you guys later. I love you guys. Stay blessed. Mwah.